In this video, I'm going to share with you our homeschooling schedule. I'm also going to share how we use our Skylight digital calendar as a visual schedule for my boys and also as a reward system. Bienvenidos, welcome back. My name is Danny. I have 4 sons, a 3rd grader, a 1st grader, a 4-year-old who's in pre-K, and a 1-year-old toddler. We are a bilingual family, and that is naturally going to add more time to our schooling day. That is a priority to our family, and we do carve out the time to learn in dual languages. We also do school all year round, which allows us to stretch our learning throughout the year. This video is meant to be an example for you. If you're wondering, if you're curious what life is like for my family, having 4 children and having 3 children who I'm teaching at different levels, keep in mind your own homeschooling regulations and requirements. I have homeschooled in 2 different states now, and it has looked very different in both states. Take what is helpful, but leave the rest. All right, so our learning starts at the kitchen table during breakfast. We typically eat breakfast at 8 a.m. and right now during breakfast, we are going over the script, 52 Modern Manners for Kids. I have showed that in my previous video and in a short as well. We typically always do something over breakfast. We are always reading something, whether they are picture books or devotional or the Bible. That is just a great place to have conversation and to get ourselves ready for our learning day. We do school Monday through Friday, and we do have subjects that we do every single day. That is our reading class, history, our Spanish read aloud, handwriting, math, language arts, Bible devotional, Bible workbook, and our Spanish llamitas. We do science 4 days a week, and we do geography and spelling 2 days a week. At 8:45, we head upstairs to what we call our homeschooling room. There's also toys for my 1-year-old to play with. But because I have a 1-year-old, it will require a lot of stop and go. A lot of stop and go because he wants to be in my arms, or because he needs a diaper change, wants to be nursed, needs a nap, needs a snack. All of these things are naturally going to cause us to stop and go, or to pause and to come back. So we start our learning with our reading class. Our reading class can take about 30 minutes because of that stop and go, but also because I'm stopping and checking my boys' work. For example, we start off with Explore the Code. My 2 older boys do explore the code on their own, and I do help my 4-year-old. I'm also checking their work, and we're making corrections, so that's just naturally going to add more time. After Explore the Code, we then move on to J.D. Alvarez, Elemental Phonics. Each of my boys have their own book. My 4-year-old has a blue one, my 1st grader has the yellow one, and my 3rd grader has his orange one. After Elemental Phonics, we then move on to Teach Your Child How to Read in 100 Easy Lessons. We all read the words together and the phonics together if you are familiar with that program, but now that we're at the very end of that book, the passages that children read are just way too long for my 4-year-old. I do read it to him, but my 1st grader and my 3rd grader read it individually to me, and we do the question comprehensions, the picture comprehensions, and then they write their letters on the whiteboard. After we're done with Teach Your Child How to Read in 100 Easy Lessons, we move on to our Abeka Reading Handbook. Now that one I think is intended for kindergarten level, but that is okay. That's actually something we're all doing together. It is good for my children to review even things that they already know, so we do it as a group. After Rebecca's Reading Handbook, we then move on to Logic of English. These are the yellow books that I showed you in my curriculum pick videos. We have Whistling Wills and the Knitting Nights. Right now we are finishing up Knitting Nights, and typically what we do with that one is we review all of the sounds and then we do a new one. And that ends our reading class. That typically takes about 30 minutes. We are working as a group, but also we do break up at certain points to work individually, and I'm also checking their work. After a reading class, we do take a small break and we do a breathing exercise. And that is just helpful to help us reset ourselves and get ready for the next subject, which is history. Right now, history, we are doing our 50 States by Snodgrass. That one can take us about 15 to 20 minutes. And that does include the literature as well. After history, we do another breathing exercise, again to reset us and to help regulate us before we move on to our Spanish read aloud. Our Spanish read aloud takes us about 10 minutes. I read a book to them in Spanish, and then we have a conversation about that book in Spanish. Because I'm reading to my children in Spanish, they know that I expect them to answer me in Spanish. That has been incredibly helpful. I've already mentioned in previous videos, and I encourage you to think about doing that as well. So all those three things, our reading class, our history, and our Spanish read aloud, typically takes us about an hour. We are not doing 1 hour straight of schoolwork. There's a lot of stop and go, and there's a lot of little breaks for my children. So anytime I'm working with one child, my 2 or 3 other children are playing, they're playing together. We say that they are dismissed, which means that they are free to play until it's their turn to come back. We then head downstairs where my kids do their handwriting, their math, and their language arts. Math is something that my 3rd grader and my 1st grader do mostly on their own. They do 2 pages, and then I check their work. If there is a new concept, I do take the time to teach them that new concept, but most of the time they are doing those 2 pages on their own, and we're just checking their work and correcting anything that needs to be corrected. My 4-year-old is doing his Singapore Dimensions KA math book. Typically requires me to be there fully for that one, and he's also doing JD Alvarez preschool math, and that one he can do on his own, and I just check his work. Handwriting is something that they do completely on their own. I just check their work before they close their book. And language arts does require that I am there with them. That is something that I do individually with each child. So during that time when I'm working with one child, my other children may be working on their math or their handwriting. And most of the time they are either having a snack or they're off playing until it's their turn to do their language arts with me. And that takes about another hour, not because they're working for a full hour, but because it requires a lot of stop and go as well. I'm checking work, I'm working with kids individually, kids are playing, kids are able to have a snack, but that does typically lead us up to lunchtime. At lunchtime, I am reading the Bible, our devotional. After lunchtime, we are doing our Bible workbook, and right now that is the K. Arthur, and that typically takes us less than 5 minutes. It is such a short workbook. We then move on to Yamita Spanish. My 4-year-old does his Spanish morning binder, and my 3rd grader and my 1st grader do level 1. Yamitas takes us about 10 minutes, if that. It is also very quick. On days when we are just focused, it literally takes us 20 minutes after lunch break, and on Monday, that is it. We are done with our schoolwork, and it's usually about 1 p.m. at this point. Mondays are a shorter day because it is after the weekend, but my boys have about 2 hours to play, 2 hours to do whatever they want to do before they have to be ready at 3 p.m. to go to their piano class. Tuesday is going to look very similar. We do our reading class, our history, our Spanish read aloud, handwriting, math, language arts, Bible devotionals, Bible workbook, Spanish, and then we do add science and geography. Science takes us about 15 minutes, and geography can take us anywhere between 15 to 30 minutes. And on Tuesdays, my kids typically have about an hour to an hour and a half of just free time before they have to be ready at 3 o'clock to go to the art studio for their art class. Wednesday is identical to Tuesdays, meaning that after our daily subjects, my kids do science and geography, and on Wednesdays they have Awana, so they have the rest of the afternoon, which is about 4 hours before they go to Awana, and that is just meaningful playtime, be outside, build, create, color, whatever they want to do. They do have plenty of time before they go to Awana. On Thursdays, we do our daily subjects, but after Spanish, we do science and spelling. But Thursdays, my kids have to be ready at 3 o'clock for their coding class at Code Ninja. Fridays looks identical to Thursdays. We do science and spelling after Spanish, after all of our daily subjects. And on Fridays, they don't have a class outside of home, which frees us up to do whatever we want to do. There you have it. That is our schedule. There are some core subjects. Things that we do Monday through Friday are reading class, and I shared everything that we're doing currently in our reading class. We do history, Spanish read aloud, handwriting, math, language arts, Bible devotionals and Bible books, Bible workbook, and our Spanish Monday through Friday. We do science 4 days a week. We do geography and spelling 2 days a week. All right, now I want to show you how we use our Skylight digital calendar as a visual schedule. If you're wondering, we did get the Skylight digital calendar at Costco. As you can see, it shows a visual schedule, so my kids would just come up and see what subjects they're doing every morning, every afternoon, and what they have going on after school that day. What is neat about this calendar is that they will come up and they will click on the little star every time they finish a task. Whether it's a chore such as unloading the dishwasher, making their bed, cooking, whatever it is, they can come up here, click the star, and they get points. I also started doing that for our school subjects just to motivate my kids, and that has been tremendously helpful. Especially for my third grader, that motivates him to do subjects like language arts that he doesn't want to do. Let me show you what that would look like. Here we have geography, language arts, and Llamita Spanish. Once they're done with that, they click the star, and that adds 1 more point to their total points. Up here it says next to the stars how many stars they've gotten, and that equals how many points they have. And what we started to do as a reward is that every point equals 5 cents. My kids are able to turn in their stars, their points, for money. They typically ask us to take them to Five Below or Dollar Tree or to get something off of Amazon. So most recently, my boys turned in all of their stars and went back to 0 stars, and they got a Rubik's Cube on Amazon. So that just has been a very neat incentive, a very good way to motivate my children. And also this has been amazing for a visual schedule. Children just thrive with visual schedules and routine. This has been really helpful. We are at the end of the video. That is our homeschooling routine, what we're doing right now, the subjects that are every day and priority in our core subjects, and the subjects that are 4 days a week and 2 days a week. Now this is going to change. It's going to change throughout the school year. But for now, that is an example for you to know what it looks like for a mom of 4 to homeschool kids at a different level and have a 1-year-old toddler. The great thing about homeschooling is that you make your family schedule. All right, give this video a thumbs up. It really motivates me when you do give a thumbs up to my videos, especially longer videos, because they do take time to make. And please subscribe to my channel if you have not yet. Come along with me as I continue to share more bilingual learning resources and videos on emotional regulation. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope it was helpful, and I hope that you are loving your one beautiful life.